Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. We're back with another uplifting story that will, by the grace of Allah, strengthen your faith and renew your hope, inshallah. Welcome to Inspiring Narratives, your favorite channel for uplifting stories that will help you cultivate a deeper connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Discover with me the transformative power of faith, dua and dhikr by the grace of Allah, and find out how turning to Allah can lead you to amazing changes in your life, inshallah. I hope you're having an amazing day and that this video brings even more joy and positivity into your life. Let's start by sending peace and blessings on our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Allahumma salli wa sallim wa barik ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa ashabi ajma'in. I never expected to find myself in this situation. My financial circumstances have become really challenging. Since getting married, life has been filled with constant struggles and difficulties. There has been little peace or support either from my husband or my family, and we've been struggling ever since we got married. There were times when I wish I had never gotten married or had children. I wondered if life would be easier if I had just stayed at my parents' house. I've thought about divorce more than once and even considered leaving my home and children, but my conscience wouldn't allow me. Who would I leave my children with? Their father, who rarely shows concern for them. He's never taken much interest in their well-being, never asking if they've eaten or how they are. He would disappear for hours, often returning home at dawn. I would plead with him, please find a job. Please help provide for us. His response was always, where am I supposed to find work? And yet I know for certain that he isn't dealing with any health or personal issues. I'm truly worn out by all this. I had been living like this for years until, by the grace of Allah, things finally turned around for me. Whenever things got really tough, there was always a way out. Whenever doors closed, there was always good coming from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The most important thing is to stay strong, patient and hopeful. Keep praying and asking Allah to grant your wishes and change your life. 2 years ago, my life changed completely. 2 years ago, I saw with my own eyes how things started to change in my life. And to this day, I still can't believe how my situation was and how it is now. That's why every once in a while, I perform prostration of gratitude to Allah for changing my situation and making me content with the life I am living now. From the beginning of our marriage, I didn't feel ready to marry this man. But we got married, and by the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I became his wife, his partner in this life, and we had children together. We faced challenges from the very start, and they have taken a toll on me. I would often plead with him, please, for the sake of Allah, look at how others are living. Look at your own family. Don't you see what we're going through? But his response was always the same. Where am I supposed to find work? I didn't finish my education. I left school after middle school, not because anyone told me to, but by my own choice. No one encouraged or motivated me to stay, and no one seemed to care whether I continued my education or not. My family, for the most part, wasn't educated either. My parents didn't, so to them, education wasn't a priority. Whether a girl studied or not didn't matter. What was most important to them was getting her married. At the time, I didn't realize how vital education is for a woman. I didn't understand that education and a career could make all the difference, especially if Allah willed that she marry someone who doesn't work or is in a financial difficulty. If I had continued my education, I could have found a job and helped support us. So yes, times are tough and we're still together, but it's hard to live a meaningful life without a sense of purpose or a clear goal. I deeply regret not continuing my education, which is why I'm very dedicated to making sure my children stay on track with their schooling. I want them to grow up educated, capable of standing on their own 2 feet, because you never know what life will bring. You don't know who you will marry or what kind of person you'll end up spending your life with. As a mother, I could never marry my daughter off to someone without a job or education or a profession, or to someone who doesn't have a stable home. After going through my own struggles, I can't let my daughters face the same hardships. I'm sharing this with you so that your daughters too understand the value of education, the importance of a degree, and how crucial it is to choose the right life partner wisely. As I mentioned before, I didn't finish my studies and ended up marrying this man because it seemed like the natural thing to do, just as it was for my family. but he turned out to be quite lazy, relying on others for everything. He has no problem accepting help from anyone, and he isn't even embarrassed by it. You'd expect him to have some self-respect, but that's not the case. He's perfectly fine with neighbors or anyone else giving us things, and it doesn't bother him in the least. In fact, he would even complain to others just to gain their sympathy and receive help. I couldn't accept this, and it really troubled me. I've made it a priority to raise my children to have self-respect, and I would never allow anyone to make them feel pitied. We were living in a rented house, but the rent kept piling up. We moved from one house to another. This is probably the 10th house I've lived in since getting married. The longest we stayed in any place was a year, maybe a year and a half, before moving again because we couldn't afford the rent. However, 2 years ago, Allah blessed me with a landlord who is both kind and God-conscious. He rented us this house, and we've lived here for more than 3 years now. Although we occasionally fell behind on rent, Allah always provided for us, and I somehow managed to make ends meet. Sometimes I even took on work just to cover the rent, so we wouldn't have to move. At one point, we fell behind for 8 months. It wasn't the first time the rent had piled up, but this time the landlord came to my husband and said, "I'm going through a difficult time and really need the money. Either you pay me or you'll have to find another place to live. I've always been patient and understanding of your situation, but I can't afford to wait any longer." The landlord started coming by every day and every other day, insisting that we either pay the rent or vacate the house. My husband would avoid him, but after 2 months, the landlord finally spoke to me. He said, "Sister, I've always been patient with you. For years, I've understood your situation, even when you were 5 or 6 months behind on rent. But now I'm facing my own difficulties. Please understand what I'm going through. You need to either find a way to pay me or you'll have to move out." I responded, "Please be patient with me for just 2 more weeks. I promise I'll do my best to find another place, but right now, I don't know where else to go." In reality, I was planning to leave the house, but I had no idea where to go. I felt completely lost. My family's situation wouldn't allow me to stay with them, and I didn't have the money to rent another house. I couldn't count on my husband to take responsibility. Where could I take my children? It was exam time, and our situation was incredibly difficult. Those were dark days for me. At night, I would cry, not knowing who to turn to or talk to about what I was going through. So I turned to dua and dhikr, constantly repeating, "There is no change or strength except through Allah. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah." I would say, "Oh Allah, I have no power or strength. Where do I go? Oh Allah, I leave everything in your hands and I entrust myself and my children to you. Oh Allah, I am helpless. I have nothing. I need your help." Believe it or not, within a day or two, someone reached out to us, a person I didn't know and who didn't know me. I have no idea how he heard about our situation, but he paid all our overdue rent and even covered the rent for the following year. He asked me to open a bank account and promised to deposit money into it every month. He also gave me some cash and assured me that a certain amount would be deposited regularly into my account. I opened the account without telling my husband, knowing that if he found out, he might spend the money on unnecessary things. By the grace of Allah, despite not having a degree or work experience, the salary I earned, combined with the money from this generous man, was enough to keep us going. Alhamdulillah, our situation began to change for the better. I shifted my entire focus onto my children, their education and their future. Over the past 2 years, things have steadily improved, and for that I give all praise and thanks to Allah. Just 2 months ago, I received a raise at work, was made a permanent employee, and now I have insurance for both myself and my children. Alhamdulillah, the difference between where I was and where I am now is like night and day. My life has completely transformed. After committing to reciting "There is no change or strength except through Allah," and placing my complete trust and reliance on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I developed a deep faith and confidence in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This confidence didn't come to me or enter my heart except after commitment to la hawla wa la quwwata illa billah, and when I strengthened my connection with Allah through prayer and dua. I dedicated my life to pleasing Allah, and seeking Allah's forgiveness for my sins and taking care of my children and raising them well. I am continuously now repeating the Hawqala, La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah, with the intention of improving my husband's situation and changing his condition. I am pleased to tell you that recently my husband started looking for work, and for the first time he has managed to keep a job for almost exactly 2 months, and inshallah I pray he continues in this job. Also, I'm pleased to tell you that he has become committed in his prayers, and he is concerned about us now and takes care of us as best he can. His behavior has changed completely. Truly, the Hawqala is miraculous by the grace of Allah. Indeed, things can change from bad to good, and a situation can improve to something better, and you will thank Allah day and night for these blessings and bounty. I always prostrate a prostration of gratitude when I look back at where I was. I can't believe it sometimes. I feel so blessed. After seeing how my situation had drastically changed, my sister came to me for advice. My sister had completed 2 years of her education, but had to drop out because she couldn't afford the remaining tuition fees. She began working to improve her situation and to save money so she could continue her education. She got a simple job and managed to save up money for her university tuition. She met a man who happened to be her manager at work, and he admired her, eventually asking for her hand in marriage. However, he came from a different social class and from a well-known family. When he approached his family to ask for their support in proposing, they refused to accompany him. Our families were different in many ways, and ultimately they found an excuse to prevent the engagement from happening. His father was almost in favor of the idea, but something held him back. Subhanallah, my sister was in a relationship with him for nearly 2.5 years, despite my family's strong opposition to the idea of her marrying someone whose family didn't approve of her. Subhanallah, just a few months later, his family finally came forward and asked for her hand in marriage. However, after the wedding, it became clear that his mother and the rest of the family didn't truly accept her. Even though his father had initially been supportive, it was evident that they didn't treat her kindly. So, subhanallah, my sister started repeating, La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. There is no change nor strength except through Allah, with the intention that the situation would improve. Imagine after a year, everything changed for the better. Can you believe that my sister went back to complete her studies? Remarkably, even though they were initially living in a rented apartment, her in-laws eventually gave them an apartment of their own. Her father-in-law began treating her with kindness, and the overall treatment from her in-laws shifted completely to one of respect, appreciation, love, and acceptance. I swear none of this came about until she started consistently saying La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah, and devoted herself to the night prayer, Qiyam al-Layl, Tahajjud. That's why I advise every person who wants a specific person or partner in their life, keep saying La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah regularly, and make dua to Allah asking, Oh Allah, if this person is good for me, then make it easy for us to get married. And if this person isn't good for me, then bless me with someone who is. If you're struggling with money, dealing with tough times, looking for a job, or having marriage problems, keep repeating this phrase, believing that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will make things better for you. Trust that your life will improve in ways you never expected, and be ready to be pleasantly surprised by the positive changes that are going to come your way, inshallah. This brings us to the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed this story. If you found any value in this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and share it with your family and friends. And if you'd like to see more of these videos, then consider subscribing. I'd love to hear your thoughts, so leave a comment below, and I'll see you in the next video. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.